Overnight, the printers did pretty well. We only really had one casualty, this Sharko. And it's kind of an unforced error because I didn't really put enough filament on it. See, I designed these spools. You can tell that I made them from remnants and stuff because of all the different colors that they are. Eventually, I put windows into the spool design so that I could see how much filament is in it better from the side. You can see from that. That obviously shows you at a glance. Exciting stuff. The coffee cup is pretty successfully printing. And it's gonna take forever though. This has already been printing for 1 day and 19 hours, and that's all we have of it. Although it'll be faster because the dish is done, and now it's just gotta print the cup itself. So maybe there's only a day or two left on that. This printer may be uncursed because it's sharkened it up. We've got Frankenstein printing that Sharko, some Sharko gold over there. And maybe most excitingly, this D20 is not screwing up, probably. We're about at the halfway mark. On these D20s, if you want to know where the halfway mark is, you look at this line. And if this line is about halfway here, between that point and that point, that's my shorthand for when we're halfway through. Been printing for a day, so that ain't bad. We got a couple other things, but Jesus here is actually turning out pretty spectacular. I forget what he's getting painted, but he's gonna look pretty sick, if that's not a weird thing to say about Jesus. This is the spool from that printer before. We are going to turn this remnant into, I'm gonna start calling them ingots. Here's how you get filament off a spool. There we go. Next, you kind of smash it into something that's sort of smallish. And there you have an ingot, and it's really hot, so I set it aside for a bit. Now to do the thing again. As you can see in the spreadsheet, for a good while now I've been using about 30%, and I've been doing it for a good while. It's like a couple of weeks, and it is working. What I really want to do is bump it up to 35%, which I probably will, but I'm getting to the point where I almost can't produce enough recycled material to add to the plastic I'm making. So I gotta find a more efficient way of doing that, or I have to figure out something I can sacrifice so that I can spend more time recycling. Either way, I have to optimize the process a bit. And the circle of life repeats. You know, one of the unforeseeable negative effects of public education in America being so horrible isn't just that a decent percentage of people that graduate high school can't read or are functionally illiterate, and almost nobody can read at grade level. Another effect that we never would have anticipated is that you don't have to be very well educated or well read to be perceived as being like really intelligent or really educated on a matter. And anybody that's spent some time in Reddit comment sections knows this is true. After doing that shark giveaway the other day, we are going to be printing a lot of Sharky boys. Some of them got, some of the people got hammerheads, but most of them got normal sharks. And I've been doing 55 degrees. Honestly, 55-degree beds is way better. You know, that public education point might apply to the idea of experts too. Like, doesn't it seem like, maybe this is mythology, I don't know, but doesn't it seem like the experts have kind of gotten dumber too? As in, like, the experts have kind of been wrong about a bunch of stuff. So lowering the bottom of the skill hierarchy has not only made the bottom lower, but it's made, like, the low-level experts lower as well on the totem pole, on the hierarchy of intelligence or competence. If the experts were here because the base was here, if you lower the base, you also lower where the experts are at. Wow, I literally just locked myself out. But I think I can find a way in. Maybe I shouldn't have said the thing about public schools. All right, after messing with this for a good while, there is a tool that I can get within walking distance that will allow me to get in here. And I'm not gonna show you that. It's a little bit hot, but it's not too bad today. It could have been way worse. I don't have anything better to do, so I was thinking about how I would get this tool if I didn't happen to have my wallet with me. And the best thing I can come up with is I would shoplift it. And then once I had my wallet again, I would buy one, and then I would sneak the tool back in and put it on the shelf. So even though I did steal, the store comes out the same. Might be a good time to mention the shop is next to a water park, and I've never been to it. They do have a lazy river, which is pretty awesome. Here we go. All right, in addition to the mystery tool, a little refreshment, and I did actually need some zip ties. All right, I think I've wasted about an hour of my life. Before you comment something like, you know how to break into places? I lived on the street for 4 years, so I've done some stuff. So I just opened it, but then I turned my back and it went back. And there we go. Just broke into my own business twice. Well, I was going out to get coffee and to go to the thrift store, so I'm even more ready for the coffee. I haven't locked myself out of anywhere in a couple of decades. In the same way that the tree of liberty must occasionally be watered by the blood of tyrants, the tree of incompetence must occasionally be watered by forgetting stuff. Won't be forgetting these this time. Feel like I really earned this today. There's this place nearby, the brewery, Fredonia Brewery. They have food trucks and stuff, and sometimes live music. I think I might go there at some point. I feel like one of the most underrated things in business is Say's law. It's an economic law that states supply creates its own demand. And I'm not sure I understand it perfectly, but it's the idea that people don't know what they want until it exists. Like Henry Ford said, I don't know if this is apocryphal, but I think he said this, that if he had asked his customers what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse. You know, everybody, I'll just give the game away when it comes to Etsy. Everybody uses something called Marmalade, and it just shows you what's trending on Etsy. So if you have some kind of product that can fit into these categories, they just make a bunch of that thing. A lot of it's for like t-shirts and a lot of that print on demand type stuff, which is fine, and that's a business model. But nobody just makes something that's like really unique. because it's risky, but the upside can be much, much higher. Like, I invented the head-shaped headphone stand. Or at least the head-shaped headphone stand that's made to look like historical figures or famous people or whatever. And that just didn't exist before. And now there are dozens of companies that were formed specifically to make those. So that's Say's Law, and I think it's really underrated. I mean, seriously, what can you expect people to be more excited about? The 500th t-shirt that says, like, best dad ever, or a totally brand new product that nobody's ever done before? It kind of just makes sense. Let's see if they say it. Yeah, can I get a large cold brew with cream? All right, thanks. They already know. You know I never get tired of it. I guess I'm also saying that because if you guys out there think that you want to copy me, first off, everybody's already doing that. Secondly, you're gonna do way better if you just invent your own thing. Unless you're like a multi-millionaire who's just gonna spend a crazy amount of money on advertising and just swamp me, you're not gonna beat me. I'm already established. But you can do a lot of things with 3D printing, and just think of something interesting. Think of something crazy to do. Like, that's kind of what I did. I just did a bunch of weird stuff until something actually worked. And then I kind of just kept doing that. That's where the big food came from and everything. So, like, definitely be inspired by these, but don't copy me. Not just because I don't want you to, but also it's just not good for you. Like, you're not gonna make it big unless you're doing something unique. And there's lots of unique things to do. Oh yes, the other guinea pig. Sadly, not my size, especially this one. Holy crap. Man, I wish that queen shirt had been my size. It was a small, so there was no way. Dang it. Why is all the best stuff not my size? Got this pretty okay scented candle for like $2 though. Remembered I don't have any food, so we're going to K Roger. I'm about to show you how to really save some money at Kroger, and it does not involve a 5-finger discount. That's 3 bags of groceries for less than $40. Normally, the way I think of it is I think of how much it is on average per meal. I think that's about 6. I wasn't actually keeping track while I was doing it, but everything was really cheap, so it should be a really low average. Now that I'm fasting for about 6-7 hours a day, I eat about the equivalent of 2 meals a day. So let's say 38, let's say it is 6 meals, that would be 3 days. So that's eating for a little less than $13 a day, which in today's economy is really good. Back in the 90s when I was growing up, that wouldn't be that great, but that's pretty good now. I think in economics class, when I was in the second year of high school, what is the second year of high school called? Freshman, sophomore. In my sophomore year of high school, in economics class, we did a budgeting assignment. And what they did is they assigned you a certain amount of income, and then you had to allocate how much you were going to spend in all these different categories of household spending. And I allocated $600 a month in food, and everybody thought that was hilarious, but I got a pretty good income given to me, so I could afford to do that. But yeah, this would have been 2002, I think. either 2001 or 2002, and $600 a month in groceries was considered absurd. That would be like eating out every day. Nowadays, if you're paying $600 a month in groceries, that's like pretty cheap. A penny saved is a penny earned. Abraham Lincoln. Here's what I was talking about. You can see that this is past the halfway point between that and that. So this is over 50% done. And I could also just look at the progress indicator. Bitcoin's probably gonna hit 69,420. That's what we call a psychological level. Come on, come on. There we go. Look at that. Imagine getting all that for 38 bucks. There we go. Sharky boys. Today's meal is gonna be this and one of those curry things. Time to refill the tumbler. I already scooped out a lot of the plastic bits, but what I like to do is after a whole bunch of plastic is down here, I scoop it out and I kind of run the tumbler until very little is coming out, because that's when you know, it's basically only large pieces left in the tumbler. It's a little hard to see, but this time I actually attached the tumbler directly to the desk by drilling a hole in it. And I put a hole here. You can see the bolt that is in the hole. This prevents it from drifting this way because it hits that, but I have found that it's kind of tending to drift this way. So we are going to put another bolt right about there. Hopefully I figured this out correctly. Oh, it could have been a little better, but that works. Yeah, look how big all those pieces are. There we go. Perfect. Here's an example of something practical. This keeps messing up sharks. This one's doing great, but this one keeps messing up sharks, and I already replaced basically everything relevant with the hot end, and the tube is fine. So I determined it has to be the extruder motor itself, and I already replaced that, and this is a new one. So it's a little bit of troubleshooting. Basically, repairing 3D printers is just replacing everything until it works. So apparently, linking to products underneath these videos is a pretty good way to get people to click on them, because this is the first day and it got 14 visits and a favorite, which isn't that crazy until you realize, like, this product, which I do okay with, it got 47 visits within 30 days. So that's almost a third of what an established product gets in 30 days in one day. We're about done for the day, but something occurred to me. If you want to ascertain somebody's character, see who is consistently in their life that they treat the worst out of everybody, and assume that someday, at least for a while, that'll be you. And if you can handle that, maybe the relationship can work.